So Lori Higgins gets up there and tells all these parents, you gotta remove your kids from school on that day. They cannot be in school when this is going on. In fact, I want all of you parents to call your children's administrators and find out if they support the day of silence. It's not about administrator support. It's not like the school okays this. This is a student-led thing, but she didn't say that. Well, I wanted to ask the question, she mainly said, this is not about being anti-gay. This is about politicizing the classroom and how wrong that is. So my thought was, well, earlier in the year, I had a student tell me, I'm not speaking all day on behalf of all the babies that have been aborted. And they had red duct tape over their mouth. Now, whatever about that, but like, isn't that the same thing just on the other side of the spectrum? Isn't that politicizing the classroom? So how come they're going on and on about the Day of Silence and mentioning nothing about this pro-life Day of Silent Solidarity? And I had my hand raised for half an hour and they never called on me. So I went up to them afterwards, I'm like, what's up with this? And they basically said, oh yeah, we should have sent out press releases about that too. But you didn't? Yeah, we'll get on that. It's been a year, they still haven't, there's no mention of the Pro-Life Day on their website anywhere. But again, so what do I do after I go to this meeting? I go home and blog about it, because that's what I do. And they really didn't like that. They didn't like that I was linking to material on their own websites. They didn't like that I was pointing out the hypocrisy. So cut to a couple months later, this is at the end of last summer, it turned out like 2 gay guys in Utah had kissed near a church, near a Mormon temple or something. And they were really pissed off and they got arrested for it. And this was a big deal, because why were they arrested for this? So on Facebook, this grassroots campaign sprang up that said, look, if you're a gay or lesbian or an ally, go to these places around the country. If you're in Chicago, go to Millennium Park. If you're in New York, meet in Times Square, whatever. Meet in these places, and at 2 o'clock on a Saturday, bring your friend, bring your wife or husband, your girlfriend, boyfriend, your partner, kiss them, and then walk away. And it'll be called like the Great American Kiss-In or something, and it'll show our support for this gay couple. And so I get an email from the Illinois Family Institute. Keep your kids away from Millennium Park. There's like horrible things going on that day. And they basically said, you know, you wouldn't want to see an old man kissing a little boy. You wouldn't want to see a man kissing a dog, so why do you want to see 2 gay people kissing? It's inappropriate and horrible. So I wrote something about that. So all of a sudden, cut to like the day before school starts this year, I get an email. I found out that an email was sent to my boss and my entire administration and my entire school board saying, how can you, like, do you realize that this teacher is a bad role model for students? Look at the stuff he wrote on his atheist website. Basically outing me as an atheist to everyone who's a superior of mine. She didn't email me that. I didn't know about this. But I did find out when one of the school board members replied to everyone, CC'd me on it, and responded back, 1, do you realize that if we fired him, you might be held liable and open to a lawsuit? And 2nd, I noticed you didn't include him in the email. Maybe that's because you prefer the cheap shot most of all. Yeah, I'll stay the hell out of that conversation. So I mean, I had to talk to my boss. I'm like, let me tell you what's going on here. She understood it. She's like, wait, it's not like you're talking about this in math class. I'm like, no, I'm not talking about this. I teach math. Why would I talk about this stuff? And I talked to my principal, and I think he understood that too. So nothing happened. And then that upset Lori Higgins even more. So she started sending out press releases. Let's see if we can get that up. She sent out press releases to the entire Illinois Family Institute website, basically saying like they should spend more time looking at Neuqua Valley math teacher Hemant Mehta's website, because look at the stuff he writes about atheism and this and that. And she sent 3 of these things in the course of a week, basically not saying that I should be fired, because she admitted, I don't talk about this in the classroom. She was saying that parents should remove their kids from my classes because I'm a bad role model. And again, my principal's like, but you're not doing this in class. I'm like, I'm not. They're like, then what's the issue? There is none. Like Lori Higgins made it sound like what I teach in the classroom is that like 1 + 1 = 2, and a² + b² = c², and some numbers are imaginary, much like Jesus. It's ridiculous. So the best part about all this is like cut to like later on as all this is happening, in like one of the 2nd or 3rd press releases Lori Higgins sends out, she says, look at who he's linking to on his website. He's linking to Dan Savage, the sex columnist. And apparently that's a bad thing, because Dan Savage is a sex columnist and he's gay. At which point Dan Savage emails me, he's like, I'm gonna go off on these douchebags. but I don't want to make it worse for you. Is that okay? I'm like, oh my God, Dan Savage just emailed me. I text my sister, I'm like, oh my God, Dan Savage. And she's like, oh my God, tell her you want to bang him. No. I'm like, I did. Okay. I love Dan. But anyway, nothing happens. Not a single parent called to get their kids out of the classroom. Not a single parent did anything. And the best part was, like, the principal said a couple weeks after this all went down, he called me for a meeting in his office. And I was a little worried. And he said, I should have told you this earlier, I just found this out. The assistant superintendent of human resources is also going to be in this meeting. I'm like, well, what's going to happen now? Basically, the assistant superintendent lady basically said, like, are you doing any of this in the classroom? No. I'm like, I would never. I know what the boundary is. I didn't say this in these terms, but I'm like, I work with atheist groups that file the lawsuits against Christian teachers who proselytize in the classroom. Believe me, I know what the boundaries are and I don't cross them. And she's like, and she looks to the principal, can I leave now? So nothing really came of that, which was really positive. And the strange thing is, no student even really said anything all year about it. Like, I don't think they know about it, which is really strange. But I think it just shows, like, when you have supportive administration, understanding, it's not the worst thing in the world. Ending on a positive note, this is the other group I'm working with now. It's called the Foundation Beyond Belief. When we talk about breaking those stereotypes, one of the stereotypes that is unfortunately, I think, true in a lot of ways, is that Christians, specifically, they give a lot more money to charity than any other group. Like, yes, they tithe at 10%, but they also give more money to other charities. Like, giving is just a habit of theirs. And for atheists, we might give, but we tend to give to organizations like that support progressive causes. We're not giving, like when it comes to poverty or hunger or the environment or children's rights, there's not a big atheist movement to support those. But you see a lot of Christian groups doing things like sending water to foreign countries or giving shoes to foreign countries. And I know a lot of atheists don't want to give to those charities because they don't want to see their money go into a Christian organization. So my friend Dale McGowan, who wrote this book about parenting as an atheist, he started this organization called Foundation Beyond Belief. And what Foundation Beyond Belief does is we take all those categories, environment, women's rights, children's rights, things like that, poverty, hunger. And we have 9 categories, and every 3 months we have 9 charities, one charity under each of those categories, where we say, we want atheists to give to these 9 charities. And in fact, I just give $20 a month to Foundation Beyond Belief, and I say you could split it equally between all the groups. And basically, we will give the money to those charities as a group of non-religious people. And hopefully, this thing will blow up in a good way. If all goes well, there'll be an article about it in the New York Times in the coming weeks, hopefully. But this is something I'm really excited about because from what I hear, there's a lot of people signing up every day, and they're not just giving $20, they're giving like $100 a month or $250 a month, which is absurd and awesome. So if you're interested in that, you could Google Foundation Beyond Belief. So that's the last group I'm working on that I'm really working with strongly. And hopefully everything will come out positive as a result. I think this is a good time to be an atheist and be doing all this. This is a survey that came out from the American Religious Identification Survey that came out last year. And it documented the changes between 1990 and 2008 about religious preference over different religious beliefs over the course of the years. When they categorized non-religious people, people with no religion, that's the only group that went up percentage-wise in every single state. Like if you look at the end here, that's like Mississippi and Arkansas at the very end. Even they went up in percentage of atheists. That's the only one that went up. And I think when you see these best-selling books coming out, and a lot of these, the Secular Student Alliance alone, we went from having like 60 affiliate groups a couple of years ago to over 200 now. I mean, we've been blowing up in a really good way. And so, I mean, it's a good time to be an atheist. I think we got to take advantage of that and kind of help turn these stereotypes around, get people more knowledgeable about what's going on.